Ćao svima, hello to everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Dragana and Anna and all of the guys from the organization team for inviting me and also to organize this event. I was part of a couple of big events in the organization team, and probably this is the most stressful job in the world. Probably I think there is a top list where it's top 3 job in the world. So, my name is Željko. Basically, I have a really diverse experience. I didn't plan that, honestly, but somehow everything was going really naturally or not. So I had a pretty unique experience working in the Serbian state company. This is for me I was really young, and for me was probably the good thing that it came when I was like 26, 27. Also, I was a co-founder of a couple of startups companies, digital marketing agency, software as a service. We even launched the food brand, which is not on the list, and still alive, still delivering in Serbia. And from the last year, I'm doing a consultancy. And today, part of the ICT hub on the position innovation lead. I didn't pick the name of the position. You know, it's a really strong position, but I'm trying somehow to transfer my knowledge and experience to the companies, medium, big size companies, working with them on a different project. So whenever I start doing something, I try to look from the 2 angles, I would say. So these 2 angles you probably know. So the corporate companies, like either medium, either big size companies, are trying to bring something new. In most cases, they want to be cool. Sometimes they're doing because of the PR, sometimes they're doing because of the business. It doesn't matter. Corporations are always wanting to do something new, especially in today's world. On the other side, we are having regular consumers, which are just wanting to solve their problems, like daily problems. And some corporations are thinking about that, some no. First time when I entered the corporation, I was 30 years old. I was entering a big multinational corporation, and I was the only guy who actually was in the department called digital department. I was the only one doing almost all the things. Sometimes people call me to just fix the digital air conditioning because, you know, it's a digital one, and it's really true. I'm not joking. It was almost 10 years ago. The technology was not on this level like today, but somehow my first impression was I need to do something big. I need to do something like really big because whole organization needs to see that, you know, in other words, I was thinking of something that it will be big and it will, you know, the whole company will hear about that. But it was a mistake because basically you get immediate push-up in bigger organization because, you know, when you're thinking about the big things, you're also pushy. And when you start doing these things in a bigger organization and you're alone or it's a small team, in most cases you will get a push from the other departments, colleagues, and everything. So for me, what I learned is that incremental innovation is a good thing. So you cannot always innovate in a way that it's a big innovation. Incremental innovations are totally okay. Just to give you an example of incremental innovation, these 2 are for Serbia market, implemented in last, I don't know, like 1 year or 1 year and a half. In most markets, these solutions were already well established. So on the right side, it's one of my favorite coffee brands, Nespresso. So what they did, basically, they found a company which is called Optimo Ruto in Croatia, and they integrate something that it looks like quite simple, you know. So my courier brought a package and he will brought me at 2 p.m. at my home. So in most cases, e-commerce website in the region does not have this functionality. So you don't know where the package will come. Some cases, people are thinking, okay, the pickup address will be my business office because in most cases I'm there. When we start hybrid work, it will not work every time. So this very simple functionality, it looks very simple, but behind you need to integrate with, I don't know, with Salesforce, you need to have like flexible solution. But for me, as a consumer, I was doing like this. So that means that for me, it's a big innovation, you know, like a huge thing. And because I never, when I got these matches, I know where the guy will come. And what is even more funny, I can even change the route of him. So I will tell him like, look, I'm not at home at that time. Can you come a little bit earlier? And they're coming at 8 p.m., which is also not a regular thing. Regular courier service are coming around 12, 1 or 2, but they can come at 9 and even 9 p.m. And the reason why, when I was thinking about the product, you know, coffee is a really addictive product. And people are not thinking about, I have only 5 capsules I need to deliver. You deliver when you are out, in most cases. So you want a product that's really, really fast. The second one is from the state company. I was really surprised, honestly. I'm not expecting too much from the big state companies, but this was a really, really cool. So how it works, we call it paketomat. In English, I don't know the word, honestly. So basically, when you're having delivery, you can reroute your delivery to some place and you can pick it up from that location. At first, like Darko said, it looks silly. Even I, who are in industry 15 years, I said, what the fuck I need is this service. So I want this product to bring at my home. But it ended up totally different. So a lot of people are using this service, and if there is no this service, we will not have like AliExpress, Temu, all these guys who are sending million products. So they are doing now through these services. Why I really like incremental innovation is basically you can see light at the end of the road. So I speak with my friend Jovan, who is a really good. They are doing similar thing like Klarna is doing in US, Lean Pay, our startup from Serbia. So you can see the light at the end of the road. So when I implement the functionality for consumer to see when the product is coming, I can see how can it looks like, you know. So for me, it's easier to start doing that thing. Probably easier to start and implement, not every time, but incremental innovation in most cases are easier to implement comparing to some big innovations. You're solving a problem that is well known. So both of these functionalities are solving problems. So when you go on a Reddit, when you go into the Facebook groups, you just need half a day. You look at the comments of people, sum up that comments, and you will see what are the biggest pain points of customers. Consumers can better understand what you want to do because you are solving, in most cases, everyday problems. So they know what you want to do. And this is really important because when you're doing something big, at the beginning, you need more energy to explain to consumers what you want to do. It's easier internal buy-in, especially in corporations. You cannot believe how it's difficult to do anything, especially if you're working on the, I would not say legacy systems, but enterprise system. It's really, really difficult. And that's why basically I'm always insisting to doing these little things. Lower budget, most cases it's a lower budget, you know. And what I really like the most with the really good implementation, results are very feasible. So with this, you can measure NPS, you can measure number of deliveries, you can even measure the average cart size. So when you implement this, believe me, your revenue will increase and your operational cost will decrease. In most cases, not every time. And good start also to change the culture. I have really 2 young kids, and I always telling them you need to do the basics. So when you see the trash, put the trash in the garbage. If you cannot learn that, you cannot learn anything else. So I think these little small incremental innovation are giving you a track record, and then after 1, 2 or 3 years, you can go to the CEO and any other guys in the company and tells, okay, we need to do something really, really big. But behind you is like 5 small little incremental innovations that really succeed. And I put this guy on the slide because there is for sure only one Nikola Jokic. They calling him a magician, unique, like the biggest guy ever, who is the biggest, most creative guy in the world. And somehow I correlate Nicola to the radical innovation. And this is like he brought into the MBA. He's doing everything differently comparing to the other guys. But when I talk about radical innovation, I want to give you one really concrete example. So I really like sneakers, like really like sneakers. And I look at your sneakers, and they're really good. So Nike decided to leave the Amazon. I think it was 2018, 2019. So it was a big decision, I would say radical decision. So move from the marketplaces and start developing direct-to-consumer brand. Some people, when we had some internal discussion between my colleagues, and they said, and even I said, like it's easier for Nike, you know, because they're having a really big brand, you know. So when I say Nike and direct-to-consumer, it comes naturally these two terms. But they did it, not fully, but they did it a lot. And if you see the results comparing to other brands, Nike is developing a lot. This radical decision, it's not innovation, it's a radical decision, then it produced radical innovation. So their shop in New York on Fifth Avenue, it's one of the most immersive shops. So they're having 5 or 6 floors. Every floor is having augmented reality, virtual reality, a lot of activations. They did a lot also regarding the metaverse. So every new technology they see, they adapt into their brand. But what I didn't put on the slide is that basically if this is good for them or not. And apparently this year and the last year, the last quarter of last year and the first quarter of this year, this is the first time that Nike having a minus in their business. And when I was thinking, why is that? You know, they are investing in direct to consumer. Everybody's saying like, you need to invest in your brand. You need to invest in your brand. They didn't pay attention on the product as itself. So they invest almost in everything, but in product not. So I, as a sneaker lover, they did a lot of reissues. They did a lot of comebacks. They did old sneakers doing in a different way. They did a lot of collaborations with the famous people like Travis Scott and others, but they didn't do almost nothing regarding the innovation. In parallel, 2 brands, On Cloud and Hoka, did opposite. So they didn't invest almost nothing, like not nothing, but they invest more in the product research and in the sneaker. And now these 2 brands and a couple more are taking the market in specific niches. So if you have running, Nike is no more #1 choice. People are considering Hoka, considering On Cloud, considering other brands. Radical innovation, I was a part of twice in an organization that we did a radical, I would say radical innovation. So once I was in corporation, we launched, in Philip Morris, we launched, probably most of you know the brand called eljko here in region, like now it's 7 or 8 years ago. It was totally different product category. So we launched totally new category and it was a really 6 of us doing things that so far we didn't know what we would expect in the company, which is really traditional, like pure traditional. And now you need to implement customer care, you need to implement CRM, you need to implement reverse logistics, a lot of things that I was like, what the fuck they are talking? I don't know any of these terms. And then when I explaining to my kids what the good things looks like, I always showing them this picture. I don't know how many of you look at those movies. The movie is really stupid, but the guys are really good. The characters are good. But unfortunately, the scenario and all others are really stupid. But if you look at the guys, you can see the really dedicated team with the main goal to do something. All of these guys having a really strong personalities, like in every multidisciplinary team in any corporations. And you have one guy, which is in this case Idris Elba. Look at his face. You know, he's always mad, but he knows how to handle each of these guys separately. So my biggest takeaway from, because I was in very similar team, very, very similar. We didn't have Shark, but very, very similar team. And what I learned that the guy who is handling the team, probably he will not know more than us in each of our specialties, but he will be the guy with the highest amount of soft skills. So he can talk with each other. He know how to regroup us, how to made us a team, because it was like that. So company separate us, 6 of us. Company give total priority to this project. So when I go to the legal department, they look at me as this shark. So I'm a priority. So legal department knows that the project is priority, and when I'm requesting something, they are giving me almost immediately. My father is always saying, son, you need to have a balance. But you know, it's very difficult to have a balance, especially in innovation. I would say in this universe, balance is 10, 20, 30 incremental innovations and maybe one radical. And if you look at this market and region as such, not so many radical innovations in last 10, 15 years. But anyhow, you need to keep the balance somehow. But I think what is more important is when we are thinking is generating new ideas in cooperation truly random or it's a planned process. I honestly didn't know how to answer this question, like especially 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. In most cases, it's totally random. When I say totally random, it's 1 guy, 2 guys, 3 guys. But how markets are developing years by years, I would say that today there are some corporations that basically having a plan how to bring the innovation to the, not only to the customer, not only in the front line, but also internally. I will try to read the first sentence. So, internal innovation program, a year-round initiative aimed at raising awareness and actively engaging employees. The primary goal is to elevate the company innovation culture and drive continuous idea generation. This is ChatGPT. And I tried to write the better, but I didn't manage to write in a better way. That's why I'm here trying to be as a explanation guy here. Idea selection, concept development, validation, rapid testing, and social proof. What is interesting? So, for example, I see companies doing and basically taking validation to the external parties. So when they're having products and they're not sure if this product will come good or not, they just putting validation to some other, you know, like 2 to 3 people, like team, like other companies, because they don't want this process to be slow. And at some point, they don't have expertise. So I will just give you have corporations that are doing pretty well 30 years, but with the same product. And you need to do something new. So you can imagine people do not know to do validation. So they never did a similar thing to that. And in most cases, if they not put it as an external source, they do by themselves. Or in most cases, they don't do nothing in this part. And honestly, it's really not easy thing to do. Because to having internal program where employees can openly raise a hand, say, I have a new idea, to have an internal platform, to register idea, then this idea come to some board. This board is relevant in the company, is CEO, chief sales officer, chief marketing officer. Then this board is looking at the idea. Then they say, we don't have enough knowledge to basically assess this idea. Call Anna and Dragana, please, come here, look at this. So it's a process. And if you don't put that process in a place, you cannot expect too much from employees. Honestly, this is my experience. You will always depend on a couple of guys who naturally are driven, you know. So whenever you put them here, I don't know, in a village, I don't know where, they will have some idea. And this is a really busy slide. Don't read it. I will just pull out a couple of things that I think are really important. So first one, aligning this program in corporations. When I think program about the generating new ideas, people will always say like, it needs to be aligned with business goals. And you don't need to be smart, or you and I to say that. But my thinking is at the beginning, go broader. So don't skew your employees just to generate new ideas regarding the business that you are doing, especially when you're a corporation, because you have commodity to do that. Startups, they don't. Corporations, they have. So start informal, start with, with really open up the topics, and then during the time you could basically streamline this to the day that someone will end up with the idea, like Paketomat or what Nespresso did. And I just told you, so Nespresso is not a global brand here, it's a franchise brand here. So the guys ended up with the own, so they didn't look at in Lausanne or in Switzerland when the Nespresso is. So they gather like 3 or 4 of them, speak, and they end up with this solution. At the beginning, you need to identify employees who are fit for the program. So you cannot expect from everyone to be part of the program, to generating ideas. So these ambassadors are the key. And if you're having 50 people, you will have 2 or 3 of them. If you're having 100, you will have 7, 8 of them, at least. If you don't have, I didn't manage to end up in this situation, but then it's for me, it's a pretty big issue. If you, amongst all the people, you don't have natural people who are naturally generating new ideas. What is really important? To define the budget. Whatever you expect from your employees, either you're a mid-sized company or corporations, this process requires money. So when you're setting the process of generating new ideas, you need to have money. Why? Very simple. You're expecting that one of those ideas will be actually implemented. So if you're having program in corporations for 2 or 3 years and 0 ideas are implemented, I'm asking you, are you participating in the 4th, 5th year? No, because it's crazy. So we are generating ideas every year, and all of these ideas are actually implemented. Different scenarios for idea development, you always need to have ABCD plan. Why? Because depending on the situation in the company, is it a busy period? Is it slow period? Is it incremental innovation? Is it a big innovation? Are you doing totally internally? Are you doing internally mixing with the external team? So depending, so you need to have different scenarios. I would say company leadership, like very simple words, you need to have sponsor for this program. So when I say sponsor, maybe it sounds rude, but when I say sponsor, I mean like some guy in the top management needs to stay behind of this program, like chief sales officer, chief marketing officer, chief operation officer, you name it, because it will give it will give a credibility to the whole program. Someone said today that when you are growing as a company, the innovation is phasing out. Look, I would say, it's in a nutshell, generally speaking, maybe it's true, but I cannot agree like fully on that, because there's a lot of big companies who are creating new things. This is perception of what we are thinking, what is the innovation and not. But anyhow, also when you are saying formalize the process, also formal and innovation, it's not going like a pair. So you're expecting the guy with the funny hair, with the crazy sneakers, and probably he is the creative guy who will brought some ideas. But I think in general, you need to formalize this on the level of HR. So what does it mean in very concrete, very pragmatic words? Most of us, we are having hard KPIs. When I say hard KPIs, it's cost per acquisition, it's churn rate. So when we speak between each other, we can correlate with our KPIs. And it's okay, because at the end of the day, we are earning money. We are not producing Kidder X. We are earning money for the company, for us and everything. But on my previous job, I had this, I would say, privilege to have a performance view at the end of the year where the 15% of my weight of my review at the end of the year was soft skills. And it was not a bullshit story like soft skill, like communication, presentation, how I doing PPT decks and everything. It was really strict, like agility, entrepreneurship, team collaboration. And my boss was required actually to speak with the other guys who are working with me from other departments and see, am I an asshole? Am I like a jerk? Am I like, can they communicate with them, or I'm really easy to communicate with that? And this weight was increasing time to time. So every time when companies was pushing something innovative and some programs, this weight was coming from 15% to 20, to 20 to 22, to 23, to 25. Like ideal case, I was reading a couple of articles. Ideal case, it should be 30%. It will never be more than 30 because of, again, at the end of the day, you're earning money, but somehow you need to have this soft part. I'm really, really fan of hearing stories that didn't end up well. When I was kid, I was eager to watch the movie with the bad end. I was somehow, trying. And honestly, Stephen King hopefully made the movie called Mist. If you didn't watch the movie, watch it. The end is really crazy. I'm not like a dark guy. I'm a really optimistic guy, but I honestly don't want always to talk about the good things, how we perform well. So I think it's always good to formalize the session, or I don't know, like it will be online call, it will be once per month, I don't know, to talk about the things that didn't end up well. And people are not talking too much, and how the organization is getting bigger, these talks are getting less and less, I would say, on place. So try to keep up with that. Try to talk what didn't end up well, because, when we launched the food, I remember we were the first to launch as how we called cloud kitchen concept in this part of Europe. So you can order the food, but not going to the restaurant, which for Serbia was pretty crazy, pretty stupid to do. Because, everybody goes to restaurants, nobody is ordering food, but unfortunately, with COVID, this changes a lot. Our main target group were women, because women are really like eating salads, and our brand was Hawaiian salads. And what I realized that Wolt and Glow are doing pretty good is this real-time NPS. So you order the food is coming, then the feedback is coming immediately after you eat your food, and then And Serbian people, and not only Serbian, when you are hungry, you're waiting for the food is not good. The people can become really expressive. Like really, really expressive, So, and when someone say to me, don't look at the qualitative data, you will lost in the qualitative data, believe me, this qualitative data was, and what we realize is that avocado was not good. Honestly. So every bad mark that we got in the Wolt and Glow, it was avocado. Okay, people explain it in a different way, but the essence of the problem was avocado, So and then I learned, like, I don't know if this can be only exclusive for the food industry. Why I cannot use that also for the other business, because it helps us a lot to change and fix things really, really fast. And for the end, I think I'm on time. There is no end for innovation, especially when we are talking about incremental innovation. I think there is no KPI for innovation. It will be stupid, but somehow you need to set yourself as a goal to maybe think, not implement, but think every month, every year about these small improvements, these small incremental improvements. And I'm leaving you with this slide. I started watching Dragon Balls when I was in high school, and the guy didn't stop changing himself from my high school. So from the left, my left to the right, your left to the right, he's changing from Goku Super Saiyan 1, Goku Super Saiyan 2, and there is no end. Unfortunately, the creator of the whole saga is passed away, but this is for me was a really great example how you need to change yourself every time. When you look at the guy, there is no big changes in front, but in essence, there is always some change that will brought something new and good for you. Thank you all. My last slide is black. I didn't plan to do that. I don't have thank you, but sorry for that. Thank you again.
Any questions? We have 5 minutes for questions.
Hello. Thank you for the presentation. So I wanted to ask, how do you know when not to give up on the idea? For example, you mentioned, okay, regarding the tracking of the shipment, it's crazy to build it behind, it's a big development, etc. And then also there was your thought when you said, who is going to use it? Like you didn't saw any benefits from it, and then you went through. So how do you know when not to give up?
Yeah, I will just correct you. I think that for Packetomat, and probably if I was producing that, I will not produce that. It will be 95%. Like I also have this, you know, restaurant Bela Reka in the Belgrade. You know, you don't know. Someone is okay. So when I was passing, I was first to say this will never work. It's a crazy part of the city. It's only airport city there. Who will come in these restaurants who is like having 400 seats? And I was wrong. You know, so it's okay to do that. For Packetomat, probably I will not implement this. Maybe if I had some case studies from US, because I'm like on a couple of newsletters and I see that the guys from US are implement that and it performing good, yeah, maybe I will change my mind. For this one, for the package, you just look at the I'm always looking at Facebook groups, Reddit, and especially on the Reddit, people are really expressive. So I had a situation with some guy from the telco company, he's a product manager, and he realized that some guys in the group knows more about the product than him. You know, they are thinking, you know, the consumer is thinking in a different way. And what I really like about the Facebook groups and the Reddit, because you're not interacting with consumers, you're not asking them. You are just like a viewer and voyeur in Serbian and English, I would say. But it's a good for you because, you know, you are getting pure feedback, like really pure feedback. And, you know, looking at that, people are always complaining about that. Always. So they can have really good experience on the website, like great customer experience. They can pay with like that. But if the last point of consumer experience is bad, you can guess what they will remember. They will not remember this. They will only remember the last. And this is what bothering most of the people here in not only Serbia, but in the region also.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
So I'm wondering, do you interact with the users or when you go to Reddit or Facebook groups, or do you ask questions or like post yourself?
It's a really good question. When I was at Philip Morris, I was forced to use tools. So I was using, if I could recall, a tool called Sprinkler, which is basically collecting all the data from not only from social networks, but also from the forums, like platforms like Reddit and etc. They're putting into different segments, even giving a sentiment, is it positive, negative, neutral, and it helps a lot. But I always really like to talk with people because I'm really extrovert person. I am overreacting because when I'm on the weddings, when I'm in taxi, I'm always start to find something else, you know. So if it's, I don't know, I had a client which was assistants on the road. The best people which I speak with was the taxi drivers. So the taxi drivers is the most heavy consumer that you have for the assistants on the road. So, you know, or for insurance. So yeah, I really like to speak, but this first level, I think Reddit, Facebook groups and everything, I think it's really good. And if you don't have time, because there are especially in the startup world, there are founders that are really introverts, so they're not easily getting into communication and everything, but there is a solution. You can always go on a Reddit and groups and see what people are talking about your product or the similar product that you want to launch.
Right. One more question from me. So what is the biggest challenge that you faced working with corporation innovations?
It's much easier to work with corporation comparing in corporation. But probably I was really young when I entered the corporation, so I had this like, how can I call it, vruća glava, can help, hot head, yes. So it was really bad for me because I was really pushy, you know, I always want to do something, but it was a really good learning curve for me. It's easier to work with corporation because you are somehow outside of it. And I don't know which speakers told you're working with different industries, with different companies. I'm a guy who are having more than 5 hobbies, you know. So for me, sticking only to one, it's not an option.
Thank you.
There's one.
Hi, I have a question about the methodology that you explained and how you use it on product ideas. Do you implement the same methodology and ideas into process innovation?
I'm like really hustling with this. You know, the only my experience regarding the product management was in state lottery for 20 years, and this was the first and the last time I was a product manager. I don't know the reason. I spoke with Jovan, who is also a product owner, chief product officer, sorry. When I was young, it was like 20, when I was young, like I having 60 or 7 years old. When I was 28, 29, I wrote like this regular book that everybody recommends, Mom's Test, you know, like everybody is recommending these books, like, you know, like Jordan Peterson, all the other books that people are always recommending. But honestly, these books is really helped me a lot, because I was really, as an extrovert person, you are 100% sure that you know to do the interviews. And when I first did an interview in Philip Morris in front of the person who is from market research, I finished the interview. We planned to launch Viber as a customer service tool, and I'm trying to understand the usage of the Viber in Serbia. And the girl from the market research told me, you are shit, like total shit. Your interview was like totally bad. And I was like 100% sure that I was good. You know, if you ask me, I was like amazing. So she pinned me a couple of things that I need to correct. Then I again read the book. And somehow it's a process. I think doing an interview, there is no like, you know, matrix through which you do. It's at some point it becomes natural. This is my opinion. If you're doing like, you know, you have on paper, you're reading the book questions. I think it not goes like that. So that's why I'm doing a lot of interviews on the weddings, on these informal places, because people are more. You know, I'm not inviting guys to some room, putting the lights like in police and trying to find out because it's, you know, it will be crazy. But trying to be really informal, and but I'm doing preparation for sure for each of the interviews.
Thank you very much. I have one question for you, just before we go. You said now something very interesting. This was the first and the last time I'm working as a product manager, and I'm wondering why the last time.
Ask me this question. I think it's a really stressful position, and I felt that when I was in state lottery. But I was working in a state company, so state company and stress, it not goes pair by pair. So, but I have, even on that position in the state company, I had a really big stress. Also, somehow I told Jovan, I cannot stay with one product for, I don't know, I don't see myself to stay 7, 8, 10 years. Somehow I want to try, you know, all these different things. The devotion of these guys are amazing, you know. So, and what is for me also a challenge, when you have a good product manager, this is my personal opinion, in most cases organization, they don't want to pick them higher because they want to keep them on that position because it's very difficult to find a replacement, you know. And this can be the bad for the guy. Maybe he's now have enough knowledge to go even further. So, and I know the guys who are looking for good product managers, the companies, it's very difficult to find a good person,
Yeah.
especially in this region.
Yeah, well, I'm 20. And this is all stress. Thank you very much. Yeah, you can leave that on the table. Give us a big round of applause for Jan. Željko.